It sounds corny. He's just mastered this character in such a way that there's just so many little moments of truth that are going on that you love, but can also drive you crazy from the right, from the right point of view. And I feel like we were really, I was really let off the leash to have a real opinion about that. So,
I don't think we ever said like, oh, it has to be funny. When I say I wanted the movie to be fun and entertaining, but John and I had so many sit downs where we would just do, dissecting the character and what's the intention of the scene, but once you just put these guys together, they both have specific wants. And if you're not getting your want, and both these guys the characters are slightly bonkers, right, in certain ways. So if they're not getting their wants, if you just let them do their thing, it was such a fertile kind of environment for them just in the scenes that it just created. They weren't trying. The reason I think it works is because they weren't trying to be funny.
Right.
No one was trying to be funny. They were so ingrained in their characters, and they had very specific wants. And if you're not getting that, it's like banging your head against the wall. And it just
also John took pleasure in torturing him. And that's so that was really
my God,
which is funny. And if it's not,
I'm not gonna lie, I would watch it every day. So your suffering was quite entertaining. I'm so sorry to say. It was quite entertaining.
This is a movie where after the first one, and it was successful, and it seemed, and I was really proud of it. But it had a longer life in terms of like the just real life feedback that I get from people what movies they would mention when they come up to me. And so I definitely was aware, like, oh wow, that movie seems to still be being watched. I think it's also a function of the fact that like streaming really started to take off after this movie, so people had the opportunity to like pick what movie they're going to watch, that sort of thing. And also I loved this character. I really enjoyed playing it. Gavin and I both very much were drawn to the idea of bringing Jon back and expanding on that, because we both really like, this guy's fabulous and we love it, and I think both felt like there was a lot more to do. They really brought me back. Bill and Gavin spent a lot of time in the intervening years developing and putting together in a quite typical of Gavin, meticulous, patient, detail-oriented, character-driven way, what it could be, because both were quite mindful of like not wanting to repeat it, not wanting to just, oh, hey, it's like they like the first one, let's just figure something out and do another one. So it had everything about it was appealing to me.
When did you decide what aspects of the first one you wanted to carry over, and then how you wanted to sort of change it up in this second installment?
That just a lot of conversations with Bill. In regard to there was certain DNA that it was important to preserve, and then after that it was a lot of left turns and just try to refill the tank in a very different way. And I in no way wanted to recycle the same thing that we did in the first film. So it was just a matter of how do we just start recreating or recreating the character in a way that is putting him on a different journey, integrating Brax. Wanted to bring Cynthia back. We knew the key in the ignition was to kill Ray, because I wanted it to be personal for both of these guys, and most importantly, and we had these conversations, I just wanted to make a movie that was fun and entertaining and put people in the seats and go to a movie theater and the lights come down and have a communal experience where they can walk out of the theater and go, man, that was a fucking ball. That was a great time at the movies. And that's really what we were going for.
Yeah, I think I always viewed Mary Beth as sort of the entry point for the audience, because she's sort of observing and seeing all these things unfold around her and reacting in kind. And, myself as an actor, same thing. I think back to working on the first movie, I was nervous. I was kind of out of my depth in a way, just trying to kind of present as if I wasn't, which I think, for Mary Beth, it was a similar type of situation. And, here we are 8 years later when we started on the sequel. And, Mary Beth has evolved, grown. She's in this sort of elevated position within the Treasury Department. And for myself as a person and an actor, I felt like I had also grown, and it was like, all right, I'm going to sort of be returning to a situation that's familiar. I feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more confident, And so that was really nice for me to kind of feel like, okay, I'm feeling like I can handle what I'm now getting thrown at me, which is, again, this dynamic with Ben and John's characters, and just kind of, again, being that sort of, for the audience, that point of entry. So all of their shenanigans, I also got to just sort of bear witness to and be like, all right, these guys are kind of crazy, and they're also kind of challenging my view of how to serve justice, really.
I mean, the secret of this movie is that Cynthia is the protagonist, really. And she's the lead in the movie. She's the entree for the audience, which means we get to play character parts. And there is a kind of relief from not having to carry a certain... there are a whole bunch of expectations and stuff that go with sort of being the lead in the movie, because as Cynthia says, the audience is really projecting themselves onto you. And so we're like a dual aggravant in some ways to her. And if you look at the math of the story, it's about her being brought into this, seeing this person be killed, trying to find out what it was and what she has to go through to get there, and the resolution of her story. And that's something that I find very artful and interesting, where this person is the lead of the movie, and you have these dual sort of character actors in there. So that affords Jon and I the luxury of doing the sort of two-hander, as you call, odd couple thing.
A very good one. And then Daniella, I feel like your character, we don't want to give too much away, but even from the trailer, we can gather that she is just about to
barrel of laughs.
Yeah, no.
Just a barrel of laughs. All the comedy, really.
Fierce. Listen.
Yeah.
But I was really actually happy to see that, look, the gentlemen are bringing back the action, but there's a heightened level of female action in this movie that I think is going to go down in history as some of the best I've seen on screen. But what was that like for you? Again, no stranger to action, but I don't think you've done this much physicality on screen yet.
No, I would say this is definitely it was definitely next level. I mean, it's not necessarily a character you see all the time. I feel like it's kind of changing a bit. I saw a video the other day of these two American Eagle chicks in a nest, and one of the siblings just takes out the littler one, takes out the nest. I was like, oh, hey, I know that girl. That's Anais. But at the same time, you want to see that eagle hunt, and you want to see that eagle fly, and there is something really compelling about watching a predator do their thing. At the same time, I felt like she was there's more to her. There's more layers there. So she's not just a stone cold killer, and it's a type of roles that I would like to see more women get to play. There's certainly here in the real world, So I love to. I love to beat the shit out of Cynthia, but we were hugging in between takes, so it was nice. I got really lucky. I had a good partner.
And whereas like these women of the action, like Cynthia and Daniella, like they trained like crazy and brought like incredible aptitude to it. Those fight scenes are like a function of like tremendous commitment and dedication and emotional perseverance that was astonishing. And for me, I'm coming at this line dancing thing like, I don't really have the natural gifts, but I'm willing to try. I would say they did a hell of a lot better with the action than I did with the line dancing. Luckily for me, it wasn't supposed to be good. At least
I thought it was great. Don't sell yourself short. I thought it was great.
The other thing about the scene that we were trying to accomplish that was really important is, so obviously there was that happening, but it was also like we just left the plot of the movie. It was like, all right, we're going to leave the plot for a while. We're just going to go have it. Because that whole scene is really about the brothers. They've been in all this conflict driving up to that scene, and then at the end of the scene on the Airstream, he says, let's go get drunk. And then that scene became, they're still kind of in conflict trying to figure, but once he goes to dance, Brax is like, that started to unite the two brothers. And it was just baby steps to get these guys there. So that was the other thing.
And it anchors the audience, having him celebrate for
Totally,
his brother. Like,
totally.
that's where you're connecting
Yes,
to.
yeah, that's my big brother up there. Like, it's beautiful.
John, not to say that you're not a great actor, but were you literally looking on to Ben dancing, doing the cheerleader role, or was it just
I don't do any of my off-camera ever for the other performers. When I'm done, I leave the set.
He was in the
You can look at a fucking tennis ball.
You saw taillights.
I am finished with you. I don't need, you know what?
Listen,
and that's just the way it goes.
I am telling you that I was so happy that watching him, I could
You were
not.
very concerned. You were
I
very
was like,
concerned. You
this
never got
scene
the scene, by
will
the way. You
never
never got-
work. I was like, there's no way
never got
this
the
is
scene.
gonna work. Like,
Let me hear
why is he like? How does this kind of like?
yeah.
What does this scene have to do with anything? And it was as soon as I saw him go out there and I was singing that song, Copperhead. I mean, I was like. I love that song. I love that. It was so good. And it was like,
Dude, I'm glad you didn't tell me when I got there this morning, like, this isn't
No,
gonna
no.
work.
If you asked,
This is a disaster.
you asked John before we shot that scene, he was saying this is gonna get cut from.
there's no way this is making.
No way this is making.
There's no way. I was like, why are we even
Highlighting
here?
the
Completely, like, you thought it was like you
No,
never got it.
Shows
It's
how
funny
much
because
I
I
know.
thought you were going to be good in the movie, but whatever.
My path has gone astray. I'm just trying to find my way.